Okay, everybody. You know, in this investigation, we always have to be about the truth. And when we find out new information, we have to update the old information. And we have to go with the truth because that's our pursuit. Our pursuit is the truth. Now, we have the statement that Russell Poole and Fred Miller take, and that statement is taken on, let me look at it. That statement is taken on the 12th of May of 1998 at 10:06 a.m., and that was in Van Nuys, room 202. And that's Kevin Hackie's statement, taken by Detective Miller and Detective Poole. And I want to read it to you, and I want to talk about some problems with this statement. Poole, okay, Finch, Hackie, Lawrence Finch with the Compton School Police. Before Bobby was killed that morning, maybe I hadn't gotten on a plane there yet, but it was that Tuesday morning before I got to Vegas. I called Reggie and I said, Reggie, Finch's brother just got killed. How do you know about that? Whatever. I mean, the dispatcher at the Compton School Police, Barbara, just called me. This occurred within like 3 or 4 minutes because one of the officers from Compton College, because Compton College Police, Mario, who also he works part-time for Compton School District Police, where Bobby lived, was like within 2 blocks of the college. So being they heard the gunshots, Mario was the first guy there as soon as Bobby got shot. And, I called Reggie 3 or 4 minutes later, and the incident just occurred because when Mario called for help from, the Compton College paramedics, our units were there right then. And there's no way in hell Reggie, being in Vegas, Reggie would have known that soon if they hadn't already set it up. And Poole asks, why would they set him up? And that to me is the big question. And Russell Poole asked that question. And then they end the tape and they go back on the tape and it says, hey, we're on now. And Hackie says, okay, let me rephrase this. Finch was a setup. He walked out to his car, got in the car, going to take off. Some guy pulled up in a sedan and pumped a couple of rounds through the car. He left his house based on the statement that Reggie had made to me. He basically said to me, don't mention that to Suge. I already know about it. I'm like, well, how did you know? This just happened within the last 3 or 4 minutes. Anyhow, there was an individual, I can't think of his name offhand, and it goes on and on and on, talking about Neckbone and Buntree and what have you. But I just want to put this out there. There are problems with this statement. He's saying that 3 or 4 minutes after the gunshots, he finds out about it, and he calls Reggie, and Reggie already knows. And he's talking about how Bobby Finch was killed. Well, here's the issue. Okay, number one, he says that the Compton School Police were the ones dispatched there. And Compton School Police are not the ones that get dispatched for homicide investigations. Now, they may have gone there. They may have worked overflow. They may have... and I've got a killer interview that I'm going to release at some point about this specifically. But here's what we're learning. He also says that the Compton paramedics, the Compton College paramedics went there. Well, there are no Compton College paramedics. And he's saying that within 3 or 4 minutes from the time Bobby Finch is shot, he's calling Reggie and telling Reggie that Bobby Finch has been killed. And here's the problem with that. Bobby Finch was not killed instantly. He was shot a number of times. I mean, perhaps as many as 12 bullets hit his body. But he lived for 30 or 40 minutes. He lived to be put on a gurney, to be put into an ambulance, to be transported in the ambulance to the hospital, to be rushed into a surgery room, to have his chest opened up and his heart massaged. So he lived 30 to 40 minutes. So it's not like he dies instantly. And so Hackie's saying that 3 or 4 minutes after it happened, he calls Reggie and says, hey, Bobby Finch was just killed. Well, Bobby Finch wasn't dead 3 or 4 minutes after. And there are no Compton College paramedics. Anyway, I am doing another deep dive into the Bobby Finch murder. I've reached out to a number of neighbors. It's a little convoluted because after 28 years, everybody has a different viewpoint of what this was, what happened. We're trying to piece it together. Anybody that has information on this, please reach out. You can reach me, MichaelDouglasCarlin at gmail.com. And hopefully we can, sometime very soon, put out the truth. I've learned a lot more things about it. I've talked to a lot more people about it. But there's other people to talk to, and I want to get to the bottom of this because don't forget, Bobby Finch is the first one Tim Brennan blames as being in the Cadillac. He says that there were all kinds of phone calls that went into Vegas PD in the affidavit talking about Bobby Finch being in the Cadillac. And the one thing I can tell you is that Bobby Finch was not in the Cadillac. He wasn't even in Las Vegas. So more later, there's more facts, there's more clues pouring in. Just thought I would put this out there as quickly as I can. I'm going to include some footage of Mayo, and that way you can see I've actually been on that street. I've been walking on that street, and I know a lot more details about this murder. But I want to also put out the inconsistencies in Kevin Hackie's statement because it doesn't quite make sense to me. And it doesn't make sense in light of the facts. And the facts are that Bobby Finch lived 30 to 40 minutes after he was shot. More later.